morning. I hope you're all well this morning. Now, I'm really conscious that I have neglected to talk to you about a couple of stories that have been in the press recently, which, well, they're quite a big deal for the electric vehicle world. They are the announcement of the Polestar 2 and the big announcement from Tesla that they've lowered, or they've finally reached that goal of a Model 3 for $35,000. So at this point you're probably thinking, well, here we go, here's the same old story about the Polestar, and any other vehicle actually it happens to come along is going to be a Tesla beta. It's going to be the end of Tesla. Let's not get into that. I do not believe that in the slightest, and that's why you won't see that in my titles. You won't see me talking about that anywhere. You won't see me writing that anywhere. People write that, and people that talk about that, I'm sorry, they're just lazy. If I put Tesla killer in my title for this video, I would get tens of thousands of hits. I'm not going to do that because it's not true. Tesla as a brand on their own are doing amazing things. Now, I'm no fanboy, but I can appreciate just what they're doing and just how amazing it is and how far they have driven the electric vehicle forward. You know, without them, we wouldn't be where we are today. They have done amazing things, and they will continue to do amazing things because the backing and the support they've got is incredible. The announcement of the Polestar, well, it's just another great vehicle, it would appear, that can live in a world alongside a Tesla, alongside the Model 3. I don't see why it has to be one or the other. There's no reason for it. So I will not be talking either vehicle down in that respect. Neither one are playing off against the other. Yeah, you wouldn't hear every time a new Mercedes is launched, people saying that's the end of BMW, or every time Ford bring a new car out, oh, that must be the end of Vauxhall. It just doesn't work like that. There's plenty of room for everyone. Sorry, I got carried away there, little rant over. So let's start with the Polestar 2. What a great announcement. We've been waiting for this to happen. The Polestar 1 was, well, it was their way of putting a feeler out. Now, they did the Polestar 1 as a hybrid. It was supercar kind of performance. It was amazing, but it was a hybrid. But that was their feeler. They needed to do something to get an idea of how to build these cars. Polestar 2 was always destined to be a full electric car, a battery electric vehicle. And now that it's announced, what I find interesting is not just the car itself, but the whole package and how they're looking to sell it. And when you read Polestar's own press release, it says in there, to give you an idea of just how closely they're linking themselves with the Model 3, it says the Polestar 2 offers avant-garde design and a unique customer experience in the premium compact electric segment. Polestar 2 is the first electric car to compete in the marketplace around the Tesla Model 3, with the range starting at a guide price of €39,900. They say the initial production model is going to be close to €60,000. But the fact that they are saying in the very first sentence in their press release, this is a vehicle that is looking to be in the same segment as the Model 3 shows you exactly what they're aiming for. So let's get the stats out of the way. It's going to have 2 electric motors powered by a 78 kilowatt hour battery, which should produce about 408 horsepower. All that means is a 0 to 60 speed in under 5 seconds. So not the fastest car in the world, but let's be honest, do you really need much more than that? That's a rapid old car. And they're hoping all that will propel it to a range of about 500 kilometers, which is just over 300 miles when you look at the WLTP test cycles. And there's another little side note that they've put in, and I really like it when there's something, it doesn't have to be big, just something little that makes an electric vehicle better than an ICE vehicle. And this is one of those things. Now, they're saying that because the battery, the extra weight, and the way they've designed the chassis to accommodate the battery, it reduces the rumble and the vibrations, and it just makes the whole thing sit down a lot better. It therefore reduces the road noise, well, they're saying by 3.7 decibels. So not a huge amount, but a significant amount. So all these little things add up, and I've said it before, lots of little things within electric cars add up to make it actually a much better driving experience all round. And here they've quantified it in their own way, which is great. And some of the other small things they've spoken about, things like the infotainment system, that is going to be purely based on an Android system. So we're not talking about CarPlay or any of the other ways of connecting your phone. the system within the car is going to be Android based, which well, for those of you that know a little bit about the Android system, it's open source, so anybody can write any program for it, and it opens a whole world of possibilities, because we know that's a very stable platform that works very well. It's been proven over years on Android phones and tablets. And I've said over and over again, I hate infotainment systems in cars. On the whole, they're a manufacturer half-heartedly trying to give it a go, putting a substandard mapping system in and things that just don't link up, and they're expecting your phone to maybe run bits and pieces of it. This is an attempt to do away with all of that, and it just means that the system should work, and you should be able to select your own apps, and apps that will be no doubt designed specifically for your car, and they should just work in there. So I'm really excited about that. I think again, a little nod towards what Tesla are doing, and you will see these comparisons throughout. They've taken the time to study what Tesla are doing, and they are taking the best bits of that and using them for themselves. And of course, with it being a car from the future, we want lots of futuristic looking things on it. So some lovely lighting systems, some logos, all these things that just make it stand out as something a little bit different from the run-of-the-mill Volvo or other car that you might buy in this segment. So that's an outline of the car, and we're going to get our first viewing of it as members of the public at the Geneva Motor Show in March, and then obviously it goes on its tour all over the place, all over the world, so that people can see it at the various motor shows. However, you can pre-order it already. It's a £1,000 deposit, and that brings us on nicely to how you're going to buy it. Now, of course, you can buy it outright, and I'll talk about that in a minute, but they're also going to launch a subscription service, which they haven't given us the details of yet, but ultimately a lot of manufacturers are now doing that. And why not? Because we buy our mobile phones and many other items through subscription nowadays. And if it suits your lifestyle and it suits you living month to month and knowing what you're paying out every month, then I think it's a good thing. It's nice to have other options. As and when I get details of that, I'll let you know. But you can also buy it via their app. Now, they're going to have stores. Of course, they're going to have stores where you can go and have a look at these cars. Now, there are going to be people employed there to look after you. Notice I don't call them salespeople. They are employees that will show you around the car, talk to you about the cars, and I'm sure there can be test drives and things also at those stores. But you cannot buy one of the cars at that store. They've made this whole new app especially for the Polestar. It will give you ultimately things like keyless entry. It gives you full connectivity to your car, but it also allows you to order your car online. And this is the only way you're going to be able to buy it online. So you can go into the app. So you can see you've got lots of different options from colors, inside and outside, to the different wheels, all the different bits you can put on. You build the car, and then at the end of it, you put down your £1,000 deposit, and you wait for 2020 when it looks like it's going to be launched. And then obviously you pay your balance. But it's that simple. You genuinely can order one of these cars in literally 5 minutes because it's so straightforward and so easy. Again, there you go. There's your comparison to Tesla. They've obviously looked and seen what they've done, and they've decided that's what people like. That's what we want to do. We don't want to be bothered with all these salespeople that give us this utter baloney when we go in about getting prices down, and I don't need to explain it to you. You know what I'm talking about. So that's the Polestar 2. A very exciting car as far as I'm concerned. Next thing I want to talk about then is the Model 3, and this fantastic news that they've launched it for $35,000. But in order to do that, I need a coffee. So let's go and get one. Now that's much better. We can talk all about the Model 3 now, which, well, the standard one, the $35,000 Model 3, comes with 130 mile an hour, 220 miles of range, but they're calling it standard for a reason. You don't get a lot in there. It's very basic interior, none of the nice little treats you normally get inside a Tesla. If you want to pay $37,000, you get an increase in range, an increase in speed, and a much nicer interior. All that for an extra $2,000. It's not a lot. I think what it shows is that actually they don't want to sell this $35,000 one. They've said themselves, Elon Musk has said, there is very little, if any, money in it. And we've seen all the people they've had to lay off recently and the stores they've had to close. There's a reason for that. Yes, their manufacturing costs are getting less because they're producing more and they're getting better at it. But ultimately, to make this car at that price point, they've had to cut some costs. And unfortunately, that's what's happened. So this car is very basic, but for that $37,000, the little bit extra, you get an awful lot more for your money. So I think that will be the base model. At the end of the day, they've done it. They've cracked that $35,000 price point, which they said they were going to do years ago, and here it is. I think actually this is just Elon Musk flicking the bird to everybody and anybody that's bad-mouthed him over the years and said he'll never do it. There you go, proof is in the pudding, he's done it now. So that's all well and good, and that's a very, very good price, even if you're looking at the $37,000 one. But what does that mean for us here in the UK? Because we're still waiting for it, and things don't always equate to when they come over here to the UK. So I've done a little bit of working out just to see what that might mean to us here in the UK. So $35,000 works out at about £26,500 UK pounds. At the moment, the current prices, the Tesla Model S standard range, so their base model, is £72,000 here in the UK. The equivalent model in the US is $80,000, which works out at 60,700 UK pounds, give or take. So it's about £11,300 difference just between here and the US, which I've worked out approximately is 19% difference in value. Now let's look at the Model 3. 35,000 US dollars, 26,500 pounds. If you add 19% to that, that takes it to just over 31,500 pounds. So it's, for the base model, just over 31,500 pounds. It's still a very, very good price, but it's not 26,500 pounds, is it? It's not a straight comparison. And who knows what's going to happen over the coming weeks with Brexit? Are we going to all of a sudden get hit with that extra 10% import tax? In which case, that's going to put an awful lot onto the price of that car. And looking across the market, well, that's only about £2,000 more than the basic Nissan Leaf. You might get a little bit more in that Nissan Leaf, I don't know. But, well, with the things that have been going on with them recently, I know what I'd rather have sat on my driveway and telling people that I drive. There's a lot more, a hell of a lot more curb appeal to a Tesla than there is a Nissan Leaf. But that's my own personal opinion. Everybody's different. I appreciate that. So there you go. That's my little look at the Model 3. I don't want to overdo it. There's so much information out there about it at the moment. Make your own mind up. But that's the angle that I was interested in. What's that actually going to equate to when it comes here to the UK if we compare it to what we currently know with other Tesla models on the market? So not the end of the world, still a very good price, and for, I would suggest, less than £35,000, we're going to be able to get that slightly better range, speed, interior, they call it the Standard Plus model. But there we are. So hopefully that's helped you understand a little bit more about what's going on. Two really exciting pieces of news, and things just seem to be getting better every month that goes by this year. So I will keep telling you and keep updating you what's going on. If you've enjoyed today's content, remember to like and share. If you're not doing so already, subscribe to the channel. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at EVOpinion. Till next time, you take care, and I'll see you soon.